Hello, everyone. Welcome to, at least in North America, a very degen-timed all-skills race. This is round 5 of the Hollow Knight All-Skills Tournament. This is the last round of the bracket stage, if you want to call it. I guess not bracket stage, like pool stage, or I don't know. The
Swiss format.
Swiss format. Thank you. You're saving me. And these guys are both 2-2. So Dalton and ins0mnia are 2-2 here. You have to be at least 3-2 to get into, or to have a chance at getting into the tournament stage. So this is kind of do or die for both of them. And I'm Palm. I'm commentating alongside Sabi.
Hi, and I'm Sabi here. I'm really excited for this race here. ins0mnia, probably a little rusty, could make this race quite interesting. I don't believe Dalton's PB is too close to his. Could be wrong on that.
Yeah, Dalton might be a little less rusty. I think both of them actually a little bit rusty, so we might see some stuff here. But that kind of favors Dalton, I think, because if they're both rusty, it's kind of a lot more variance, if you will. Like ins0mnia can die to something, lose a lot of time. It starts to matter less the small differences between the PBs.
Yeah, high variancy is usually good for the underdog. I've watched in a few different sports and esports. When a team is just consistently good or a player is just consistently good all the time, that level can seem unreachable. But when they're back and forth, it's just, any day could be the day they slip up.
Yeah, so ins0mnia has a 54 and Dalton has a 56. And even, or no, I can't read. ins0mnia has a 53, Dalton has a 56. They're both high, so about 3-minute difference between the two PBs.
Yeah. Dalton's was a month ago. There's very often at this tournament, at least after a month, secret PBs, so to speak. But I know that's not the case with ins0mnia. Could be the case with Dalton, but if he's as rusty as you seem to think, seems a little unlikely. In any case, will you be doing the countdown? Oh,
I did the countdown, but it looks like Dalton doesn't have load normalizer on, so I think we're gonna reset it real quick, let him reset the game and get load normalizer, because that is nice to commentate over into view. We'll see. We're hoping ins0mnia notices. Okay, yeah, he sees it. We just had to ping both runners. They're both going to reset here. Dalton will have to restart his game just to get the load normalizer. The load normalizer actually not a live split thing. It's integrated into the game.
yeah.
Which makes a lot of sense. I don't know why I said that. I'm tired. It's like 4 a.m.
Wouldn't it be great if live split just paused for 2 seconds regardless of the regardless of how long the loads actually work?
Yeah.
To just start moving
It's
before
exclusively live split.
yeah. Don't think that'd quite be the equalizer we're looking for. Alright, shall I do second countdown then?
Yeah, it looks like they're getting ready real quick.
Okay.
Alright, Dalton's ready. ins0mnia is something.
It's upside down. I mean, that's normal for an Australian. Okay.
True. Yeah, so we'll count them down again. There's going to be a little bit of stream delay, as there was the first time, but then these guys should be off and running.
So, a couple things about ins0mnia at least. I don't know how well you know Dalton. He's not a huge fan of optimizing bosses. I know he has done the one cycle, but he only learned it right before the tournament in his final PB. He really likes to focus on movement, especially the abyss climb in this category. Probably way above his abyss climb is much closer to a top time than his PB is, which is a stat he likes to keep track of. Is just like, oh, he'll talk about how someone's Hollow Knight fight is way above the level of someone with a 56, etc. But Yeah, so his Abyss climb is way above the level of his PV bracket. He's really proud of it. So I'll be looking to see tight movement from ins0mnia, even when he's not, even maybe when he doesn't quite play boss fights or certain skips optimally. I would expect to see pretty solid movement, especially because he has so much experience in randomizer skips and stuff like that.
Yep, and I don't know too much about Dalton, to be honest. I mean, I know both of us are friends of ins0mnia. Like, we hang out with ins0mnia a lot, so we know a lot about what he's doing. But I do know that both these guys, as I mentioned earlier, a little bit burnt out on all skills, perhaps. I know both of them are pretty rusty. ins0mnia basically hadn't played since his last race. I'm not sure if that's the case for Dalton.
He's gonna get a 52 anyway, I think. Yep, there we go. Mid 52 for ins0mnia. Mid 50, or kind of a high 53 for Dalton, but that's about what you want to see. No humongous mistakes leading to those 55, 56 times that you really don't want to start out with. So I think both runners are probably feeling okay about that.
Yeah, and the load normalizer is working. You love to see it.
Yeah. Oh. Our loads are normal. I didn't actually see if we got a sync up for this, but if we didn't, that's actually just immaculate timing from these two racers.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. I think this race is probably going to become like a 55-ish affair. I think at a 55, it's kind of an interesting time to be at, because you're not at the like super optimized of like a 49 or a 50 like recce time or close to recce time, but you're also kind of no longer able to die in PB. You can, right? But it gets to the point where a death is really detrimental, as opposed to like over an hour you can die and still have a good chance of PBing. So I think this is probably going to come down to who can handle the most boss fights or C-peaks or whatever, who can die the least, or hopefully not at all.
Yeah. I don't want to harp too long about ins0mnia, but I do think that he's consistent enough to not have like multiple deaths. However, every time I've ever said this about a run, it always ends up being multiple deaths. I am the comms cursor. Hello, it me. But it looks like actually Dalton did have a slightly better Aspid arena. Oh no, actually I think most of that time would have been from the Gruzfall, right? ins0mnia got hit twice. It's pretty frustrating amount of RNG in the Gruzfall. It's not going to affect him, I don't think, too much, being on low HP here. It's a pretty forgiving split, and we get a should be able to heal up to full on the False Knight. He does miss Statue Pogo though, and or any backups for it, and does have to just kind of lose a couple seconds getting himself back up there.
Yeah, but I do think frustration or kind of annoyance is going to be a thing. I know the last 2 days that ins0mnia's been playing Hollow Knight, he's been a little annoyed with the game, which is going to happen if you haven't played for 2 weeks and then are coming back to it. You're just not going to be as good as you were when you were in form 2 weeks ago. Things do start to slip away after a week or so, especially at this kind of level.
Yeah.
So I think like if you see just maybe not getting hit in the Grezero and missing Statue Pogo, but a little more stuff, like if you see these guys start to miss Fireball skips, they can definitely get in their head. I think when you're out of practice, that gets to you a lot more. Because you don't have that mentality to fall back. It's like, oh, you know, last run I was fine with this, or I succeeded this a bunch of times, I'm going to be fine. It's kind of like, oh no, I missed a Fireball skip, I'm rusty as heck. Yeah,
I know a lot of runners don't really care too much about missing the first Fireball skip because it is impossible. The other two are a bit more important. Well, at least the second one for sure. I think the third one is actually the least important, but the first one seems to be the one that most runners agree. I'm gonna go out there and say most is hard, but in the meantime, they defeated the False Knight. They're on their way to the Ancestral Mound to collect their first spell.
No.
Yep, they're gonna get about the same time for VS. I think Dalton is ahead by a second. The Dalton or ins0mnia? One of them was ahead by a second. I don't know, Rick's will tell us. Looks like ins0mnia based on when the screen went to black, but that second shouldn't matter too much. Like high 30s for the VS, which is a little slow for these guys, but it doesn't mean too much. 0.3 according to Rick's, getting it on the hundredths of a decimal. My, he's been at work.
There's a reason we added them, right? Race simply too close before. It would actually be sick to see them maintain this level of this closeness between them. Hopefully the Baldur's Spit won't be throwing the RNG too well. ins0mnia just said, you know, we won't need RNG to destroy this thing, and we'll just leap into the spikes. Not too much time lost from there. It's better than falling like all the way down after you fail a bench fly pogo or something.
Yeah, and I agree. It's only a couple seconds, but again, it's a frustration thing, dude. It's damage and time loss that he knows he shouldn't be taking.
Yeah, I think he would have. I didn't quite see. They both got pretty fast Baldur Spits, but I think he might have been coming out of mound ahead of Dalton had he not done that, because he's only about 3 seconds behind, which.
Yeah, he probably lost like. He was probably like ahead by a second going into mound. I don't know. It's fine. It doesn't mean too much.
No, it really doesn't. A single fireball skip will switch this right around, or provided Dalton is the one that has the better fireball skip, would just further his lead. But the tricks that are coming up, the bosses that are coming up, are going to be a much more deciding factor than a single spike fall.
This is giving me CP flashbacks. They both have like full soul coming into this room.
So it's funny because stuff like that, like
Yeah.
Ooh, that's rough. Oh, ins0mnia does get it, which of course, just as we said, we'll put him right back in the lead. But it's funny to think about stuff like this because in the early game, these 4 seconds, they seem to matter so much. But it's very rare that we'll get into a race where ins0mnias, you know, people will fail at 1 or 2 skips there. And we'll barely talk about it. Well, first, second try, you know, it didn't really change anything just because usually by then the difference between the times is so great. And it's just funny that, you know, practically, there's no difference between losing 5 seconds on ins0mnias and 5 seconds in the early game, but in the early game it feels like so much more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good point. It's a point that I harp on a lot, like both in these commentaries and I guess my self-monologue or something, like the thought process. It's like, you really shouldn't be resetting over these things, and you really shouldn't be caring about these small time losses at all, like in the early game. You look at Monsta, like Monsta's early game, you know, respect to him, is terrible compared to everyone else's around his level, and he's still first place in all skills.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. I've mentioned before that he's talked about his early game. He talked about his world record run and said that both of them have
there are so many struggles happening on screen. Okay.
And he makes the man photo. Oh my goodness. You love to see it. ins0mnia actually had enough soul to go for it again and just opted not to, and that actually saved him some time over Dalton, who, even though he successfully does it on his 3rd or 4th try, does make it back.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, from Dalton's side, this is kind of what you can see. You see he misses that fireball skip, and I could be reading too much into things, of course. He misses that fireball skip, then his movement in the next room, slashing those last 2 enemies, is just looking really, you know, not clean. Dirty? Can I say his movement's looking dirty? That feels wrong.
Yeah, that dirty almost implies clean. Like,
yeah. You're right, though. Dirty is like better than clean, actually.
Yeah. Absolutely nasty with the fireballs. But ins0mnia did actually get the double fireball, or the double hit on that Moss Knight, so he was able to go through this room that Dalton is just finishing up and collect a little less soul. That's not what you want to see. Yeah, this is really bad.
He's at 1 HP! Oh no. How safe do you play this? He needs soul.
Oh my
froze there, I got
God.
terrified. So ins0mnia was about 10 seconds ahead coming into this room. He's now about 2 seconds ahead, and probably less than that if you account for the soul. He's so scared, as he should be.
Yeah, and now he might have a much... Oh, never mind. He does heal up, which will be yet another time loss, both in taking the time to heal and in losing the soul to start the Hornet fight off with. I was gonna say, I think it's good that he healed there, because otherwise he'd just be playing this fight really scared as well. and I don't think that's worthwhile to
Yeah.
have a really slow fight just because you're on 1 HP.
Yeah, you gotta kill
Really?
the 2 in a race.
It's really staggering Hornet. He started off the fight staggering it, not optimally, very far away from himself. But he's settling back into rhythm, and he finished earlier than Dalton. So
Yeah. Yeah, he saved probably 4 seconds or so in that fight. He got a nice double and staggers at the start. Like, I don't think the end of his fight was particularly good, but the beginning was really clean. Alright, I'm gonna put audio on ins0mnia just to mix it up, even though these guys have been, again, basically even throughout the entire race so far.
yeah.
If I can find it. Alright, I found it. I almost hit done. Ugh. That would have been bad. I don't know if people have... Someone must have done that by now. Like, I accidentally hit done instead of switch to this player audio.
Which I'm sure that there's a button, there's a reason why the undone button exists. Like, what did I do? I definitely had to. Oh, you know what I did? I declared the loser of the race is done first. And then I was like, okay, well they're not the winner, so I think I meant to do forfeit or something. And I hit done, and I had to undo it. So, you're not alone. Is what I'm trying to say.
Forfeiting is in fact the easiest path to victory. Dalton, you hate to dunk there. Dalton's movement is not looking very good.
Yeah,
I hate to say it.
Yeah, ins0mnia actually managed to get through that run pretty cleanly. Only a single hard fall. Well, yeah, Dalton took both damage and hard falls throughout there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, especially with what happened right before Hornet, I don't think ins0mnia will be happy with this run as far as it's going. But Dalton's movement has looked a little less clean than ins0mnia's. Like, I preferred ins0mnia's movement. It's just stuff like what ins0mnia did before Hornet, but put him back 10 seconds, and you can see he's still in the lead by like 5, 6, up to 10 seconds now.
Yeah. You know, it's always, at a certain point you stop worrying about, like, you know, where am I dying, where am I losing 30 seconds or so, and it starts to be about where can I save 10 seconds in this split, 5 seconds in this one. Then I think both these runners are around that level where you start thinking about that, and ins0mnia has really capitalized on those smaller differences. Well, Dalton might be just in the process of learning them, and yeah, fails that e-pogo there, as I'm sure you're about to point out.
Yeah, I mean, it's another thing, like, if you haven't played in a while, it's hard to do. The same thing occurs with Mantis Pogo. Like, you see ins0mnia having trouble with it here, almost a really sick backup. He tried. Oh, this is
I don't
bad
think
now.
it's happening. I don't think... Oh my god, I lied. It's
Does that count as a curse?
Yeah, I'll take responsibility for that comms curse.
And that's not a good setup from Dalton either. He didn't get the Mantis high enough. And yeah, the same issue as ins0mnia, but his Mantises are higher. Does he have the backup? They're flying
I was gonna say, well, he's really going for it. Okay.
Wow, he's ditching. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't tend to ditch that until, like, they're dead. But if he doesn't know what to do with them in that position, it's fair enough to just go to the right early.
Yeah, you can actually play around with the Mantis AI for hours just trying to come up with weird ways to get up there. They're very strange. Every flying enemy in the game, for people who don't know, they're all coded to fly away from you when you get close to them and fly towards you when you're walking away. Or it's just they just have a range where they do that. And it's a very basic AI principle, but the things that they can make them do, especially with the Mantises, like diagonal attacks, can be pretty weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still weird to people that have, like, played this game for a long time and have speedrun this game for a long time. But to a casual player, like, the fact that their movement is different, like you were saying, depending on how far they are, along with those, like, diagonal attacks, it's a very different enemy than what you might be used to seeing in, like, Metroidvanias or any platformer. Either way, ins0mnia gets 2 hits on Jenny. He's 11:05 into this room. He seemed to be about half a minute ahead of Dalton, maybe a little under. You see Dalton stop at the beginning of that room, That's to get those dashes lined up so you can get 3 dashes. He doesn't manage to do it fast enough. The pause at the beginning was too long, so he didn't get the further that he wanted. ins0mnia kills Presmonic.
And hopefully we'll see a quick cleanup. These 2 fireballs here, if they're well placed and with good RNG, can just eliminate every Gruz. Oh, so close, but he... Oh, never mind. One of them got way high up there, but he cleans it up very smartly, holding on to that fireball until the last one was way above him. That's a pretty solid cleanup considering the spread of the Gruz. And we'll see if Dalton can even one-up him here.
What? I think Dalton missed his first fireball input.
No, missed.
Oh no, he came in with not enough soul is the problem. Because if he has 5 soul now, he came in with, excuse me, with 5 soul.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see.
Yeah, so he'll only have 1 fireball. He'll have to get a hit to get a second one. That's actually fine. Yeah, a little late on the second fireball, but it still works out. It's even better than ins0mnia's cleanup. But yeah, it was about half a minute separating them coming into the room with Gruzmother. I expect with a slightly worse Gruzmother and better cleanup from Dalton, it probably won't change too much from that half-minute gap. ins0mnia's so low on that Shade Pogo, though. He barely caught the edge of that. That was a super scary Shade skip.
Yeah, the Shade skip being one of the tricks that a lot of people think looks really complicated. It's not something you would probably ever think about in the casual playthrough, especially not knowing what's beyond that door, but anyway, it is actually a lot easier than some people would expect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you look at it casually, it's kind of the same as the C-Peak's like damage cycle. If you look at it for the first time, it's like, wow, that's absolutely crazy. I can never do that. If you just sit down with it for literally like 5 to 10 minutes, if you practice it for that long, you should be able to get it consistently. Depending on how much you've played platformers in Hollow Knight in general, of course. Like, I won't say it's 5 to 10 minutes for everyone, but if you've played the game enough, it's not as hard as it might look.
One of our viewers is asking what happened, or what has caused ins0mnia's lead. About 30 seconds here. It's mainly been small movement stuff, dunking in acid. Yeah, it hasn't been anything too major.
I think it's the Mantis Pogo mainly, actually.
Yeah, the Mantis Pogo. That's right. Yeah, there was the explosion Pogo missed as well, but that's only 7 seconds. Yeah,
I mean, that's true.
I forgot. Both of them had pretty scuffed Mantis Pogos, but ins0mnia did make it up there, while Dalton did end up aborting and going around.
Yeah, I think they were like 5 seconds, if that, different out of Green Path. Maybe not even that much. Going into the Hornet fight, they were only 1 second apart. But yeah, Dalton had a really, really rough loss, but ins0mnia didn't want that double. He always complains that when he doesn't want a double, he doesn't get it, or he gets it. He wanted 2 more hits on that thing so he can come into the Husk fight with 3 hits of soul.
Yeah, it's, the enemy RNG throughout the city is pretty funny, just because these slight differences in the Husk's positions can end up making up for a very different geo number or soul amount, or yeah. ins0mnia exiting with 720 is going to be very comfortable, just farming up 2 rows of hoppers here. Looks like Dalton might have slightly more coming in, yeah.
Yeah, if anything more, they're pretty similar. Dalton also, by the way, wanted a double there because of his soul and got a single.
Yeah.
I actually don't like doubling that guy, singling that guy in all skills, because you don't come back through that place like you do in any percent, so you have to wait for his geo to drop. That's annoying.
Let's see.
But yeah, you're right.
Actually,
Dalton with like 10 more geo. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I actually haven't learned the faster double strat at all. For the
Somebody just swung it to any and everything and hit nothing.
Yeah, really had it out for that wall. Oh, he actually does the underslash strat. Let's go.
He missed a nail hit, which messed him up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, recovered quite quickly. He'll still be leaving here with 11 extra geo. Pretty normal amount, to be honest. The more geo you leave this split with, that will actually save time, likely on the King's King Station split, which is after the Soul Sanctum. So it's fun to see time save from like the city split and the Great Slash split to end up saving time much later on in the run. Amusing to me at least. Dalton was going for an underslash strat on that first one. Strat, I believe, popularized by Monsta, maybe not invented, but it looks like he got all the geo from that, even despite the small mistake. And yeah, he's absolutely loaded. Coming out with still only about 10 more geo than ins0mnia. Thought he'd have a bit more.
Yeah, I think he had like 6-ish more going in, and then he got one of the 5s that ins0mnia missed because ins0mnia's last row was kind of scuffed.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's comfier for Dalton. I mean, that 11 geo does mean something, but what means more is the time difference between these two, because it's probably still at around 30 seconds, if not growing from there, with ins0mnia in the lead.
Yeah, and I'm sure with our trusty Rixian in chat, we'll know soon enough.
Again, though, like, yeah, lower route, as Jangar points out, ins0mnia choosing to go down and toward Basin? No, he's getting a little lost. But again, I don't think 30 seconds means all that much when you compare it to Isma Skips dying in Peaks, Hornet 2, Broken Vessel. Like, there's a lot of things that, especially when they're rusty, these guys can mess up. You saw ins0mnia almost die in Green Path. Like, a lot can happen in this race.
True. One more step on that Moss Charger and would have been the end of him. But, I think...
Lost. Oh. Go ahead.
Made. I was just gonna say, I think ins0mnia is a patient player. He knows when to worry about dying and how to slow himself down to, you know, he's a reasonable person, especially while he's ahead, I think. And I don't know actually if he watches the races too much.
It would make a difference, because if he's not watching the race, like, again, I don't think he's going to be too happy with this. Green Path was scuffed, like, Mantis Pogo was scuffed, he just doesn't know that it was worse for Dalton. Forge Tusk and Hoppers were fine, but even Hoppers, he had some slip up toward the end.
Actually, I missed how Dalton dealt with those two flying husks by the two flying husks by the lever skip. He killed both of them, it looked like. So that was interesting. He managed not to take any damage. Looked like he might have used Soul. Fireball, single fireball on both of them. Now he's a little lower on Soul than I'd want to be coming into Soul Sanctum. I think you typically want 8 hits. Looks like he has 6 or 7. Could end up mattering.
I want to point out on ins0mnia's side, like you're saying, low on Soul. ins0mnia elected to use 2 fireballs on the Soul Twister there instead of 2 more nail hits, which puts him, while he's at 3 HP on not much Soul, like, he has effectively 4 Soul right now, which he can't really afford to heal once. This could be a scary Sanctum. Or he just takes the time lost on the Soul Warrior, which I think is not a bad idea either.
I would've...
He does heal.
He does heal.
So the Soul Warrior will be weird.
Yeah, and in a race setting, I fully understand it. I personally hate going for any heals in Soul Sanctum. Soul management is so important. That's about the slowest way you can do that.
He gets the soul. Credit to him.
I don't think that was his intention, going through there. Maybe he thought about it, like, as he was going through. He was like, oh, wait, I should stop and get this. And then he just missed the lever. Send the elevator back down.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, he definitely missed the lever.
He does manage to kill the Soul Warrior pretty quickly. He's on 4 HP. I wouldn't be too worried about anything going wrong here. He'll probably collect 5-6 hits of Soul here. And go for the Soul Master quick kill.
Yeah, he's in a better spot now after getting that soul, actually. It did lose a little bit of time. You'll see Dalton has that soul going into it. Also 1 HP over ins0mnia. But ins0mnia did need 3 Shade Souls, in fact. ins0mnia's going all the way back for this. He did need 3 Shade Souls for the Soul Warrior, so it's a good thing he collected that. Dalton taking 1 hit. Again, 4 HP, like you mentioned, with ins0mnia, not really a big deal.
Yeah. Just while we're waiting for the Soul Master spawn, I do want to briefly mention just how they got through the Soul Sanctum so quickly, primarily with the Dash Slash skill, doing some lever skips. The hitbox on Dash Slash is quite extended, and on this patch you can hit levers through walls. So, getting that skill very early on is important to getting through here quickly. He does get the really bad RNG for Soul Master, not allowing him to get the quick kill. This attack is perfect though. 2 double hits, yeah. I was gonna.
No.
What was?
He does another one very late. He was deciding whether or not he wanted to do Shade Soul.
Yeah.
That Shade Soul actually might have killed. He might have lost like 10 seconds, or not 10, like 5 seconds. Gives Dalton a lot of room to come back in the split though, because Dalton had better soul collection, a better soul warrior fight, and he didn't have to go backwards for the soul thing, and he got the perfect quick kill opportunity. One more? Oh, you didn't do it!
I don't think it was.
It would
have. Oh my goodness. I mean, I do like to see runners hold fireballs when they're not entirely sure whether or not they'll kill.
Yeah, fair enough.
Or whether or not they'll hit, period. Just because using of your last bit of soul when you don't know whether or not you can kill him can be very punishing if he starts giving you really bad attacks after. It feels awful to miss a Shade Soul and get multiple dives immediately after, but as you said, I think Dalton saved huge amounts of time on this split.
Yeah, the second phase was probably a little worse than Somni's, but that's it. Like every other part of this split, Dalton outplayed Somni. Or outlucked, in the case of Soul Master.
Yeah, Soul Master's just... This whole area is quite RNG infested. Oh my god, like even that is a small bit of RNG. How early that folly spawns in the air there. It's totally random. You can get out of the room before that volley spawns. It can spawn so slowly, and instead it spawns almost right on top of him, which on 4 HP wouldn't really matter. But when some runners are comfortable leaving Soul Sanctum on 1, so
yeah, I don't know if that volley can actually hit you. Like I don't know if it can spawn soon enough where you can take damage from it if you're going as fast as possible. But I haven't been hit, but I don't know. Like I wouldn't be surprised.
I know you can definitely get hit if you're slow.
Oh yeah, I mean I've been hit, but I've never been hit while like doing good movement.
Yeah.
I've definitely been hit after missing things.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you know, this game with its input handling and the lack of buffering, missing a single wall jump there is fairly easy to do.
Dalton going up. No.
The Sabi strat.
I mean, that's kind of what Somni did earlier. Somni just did it in a shorter elevator. Dalton was frantically slashing at that lever, asking to go back down.
I don't actually know. The elevator behavior in this game is really weird. In that some elevators you can send them back down as they're going up. Yeah, and that one you definitely cannot.
The Geo kind of swapped around here. Somni now much more comfy on Geo. Dalton still has one room of Fireball that he can do, but Somni's 11 Geo short of 300, which should be perfectly fine to get with the dive.
Yeah. So 300 is the number that they need to get the King Station stag. Yeah, 73 is not bad. He'll probably have to both dive and fireball the minion on the left here, the minion, the husk. On the right there, I mean, that Somni just pogoed over.
Yeah, if you're Dalton here, you want enough for 2 spells, so he wants 2 more soul. You can get it on these guys that he's dashing over. Like, you can pogo one of them earlier and the other to the floor. Yeah, they're in pretty bad positions. He doesn't elect to go for any pogos there, so he's gonna need a bit of soul. He'll get it off this guy. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, Insomnia gets that impossible jump. And yeets himself straight up to the top of King's Pass. I think that's probably been one of his better movement splits so far. Let's hope he can keep it up throughout the Crystal Peaks. Crystal Peaks, for anyone who doesn't know, a split that's extremely consistent. If you are consistent. Once you get off cycle in any room, everything just feels terrible. Lasers aren't where you'd expect them to be. You have to start processing a lot more information. Especially if you don't know the backups. Dalton does get up there fairly quickly, does opt to dash a bit more than Insomnia, and dashing into a wall does lose some time. Should see Insomnia go for an early control nail art here. Barely gets it.
Yeah.
But he does save the time there. Optimal to get it right before you land on the ground.
Dalton unfortunately missing the look down. But this is, like you were saying, this is one of the first splits And this will be going on for a while, where we could see big time loss, and i.e. we could see a death. C peaks, you can definitely die and you can lose a lot of health in. Watcher Knights maybe not so much. Isma skips definitely Broken Vessel, Hornet 2. Like, we're gonna get into a lot of stuff where ins0mnia is in a pretty comfortable lead at this point, 30 plus seconds, but he has to live still. That's important.
Yeah. The Crystal Peaks being hard for a couple of reasons. The first of which is that the bench is so far away, so there's this kind of intensity of this feeling where if you know you're going to die, or you worry about dying just because you know how much of a time loss it's going to be. So there's nerves added to it, and then there's a few areas in this section where you can take double damage, and most of them are at the end where you'd be at low HP. Getting hit by any of these enemies into spikes can result in 2 very quick damage, in some rooms in the D-Dark room, leading to 3 damage with the Crystal Hunter sniping your spawn.
What? I hate Something. He baited us so hard. He went toward Pogax and then just ditched. I cannot believe this.
I didn't know you were a Pogax Prom.
I enjoy watching it. Doesn't mean I have to do it.
Okay, well that's fair. Everyone does like to watch good Pogax. It looks super clean. It's just like, it's stuff like that that really amazes people who are newer to the community and just, why?
I don't know what that was.
He just kind of walked off the ledge there. That was interesting.
At least Dalton didn't bait us. Dalton started, he entered that room going to the left, which means he's not going for Pogax. The only reason I thought ins0mnia was because he entered going to the right. Weird movement from ins0mnia. He's struggling. He's gonna get some soul, which I like here at 3 HP.
Yep. If he loses any more HP in the Crystal Heart section, I would say that yeah, not really safe to go into D-Dark rooms on 2 HP. But I think actually there's always an opportunity to heal while saving the grub, right? So I guess that makes sense. I was gonna say I wouldn't expect him to heal anywhere else, but yeah, he has enough soul to heal on the grub and still get 2 more soul from bouncing on the Crystal Hunter. Not enough for a dive, etc.
Dalton just exited and re-entered the room, it looks like. Also messed up his movement a little bit there, so he'll take a damage. There are 2 intentional damage you can take in C peaks. ins0mnia's gonna elect not to take this one. This is damage to us.
ins0mnia is definitely an underplatter, by the way. We have someone in the chat asking. I know for a fact. While I was learning C peaks for the first time, when he explained the room to me, and right towards the end he said, "And then you do underplat." Those are the words he said to me. So, I know for a fact he's going for it. I believe he also got dash life storage.
I feel called out. It's like a 40-second. It's like a 40-second difference here, but Dalton does have a 1 HP advantage, which actually means something here. There's 1 more intentional damage tank we have to take at D-Dark, so ins0mnia has 1 mask of leniency here, and there is a dark room coming up.
Yeah, they really want to save up this HP to get an early control glitch. Doing that on 1 HP is not very profitable. You'll still get D-Dark, but you won't be in the right place to get your Dream Nail. Makes it through that Crusher room fairly easily. I believe he got a slightly slower cycle on the second set, but not bad at all. I'm gonna see 2 Pogos here. ins0mnia didn't heal, which I do like. I don't believe
he didn't heal, he just went damageless. Yeah. He does a C-dash at first, and then he does dashes the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, he knew he missed it. That was a good recovery. He held the right side of that platform that he missed.
Yeah, you love to see experienced runners know the dark room well enough. I believe Visuals was the person who said there's 2 levels to knowing a room. There's knowing what to do correctly, and then there's knowing how to do a room as fast as possible when you've messed something up. And being on that second level for the dark rooms is really important, because falling into the spikes is very punishing, both in damage and in time loss. So ins0mnia avoiding that, good on him.
Yep, ins0mnia avoiding the spike pogo, both spike pogos actually. He's playing this pretty safe. He's actually gaining time on Dalton too. So from a race perspective, this is smart. Even if Dalton plays very, very well, he's only going to gain like 5-10 seconds on ins0mnia, and that's if like Dalton golds gets close to comps off. Dalton does, by the way, get through that dark room. So from ins0mnia's point of view, with a 30-40 second lead here, I think this is what you want to be doing. Just play solid, don't die.
Ugh.
So 38 according to Rick's at Crystal Heart. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, hopefully we don't see any. We don't see any percent dream platforms, any single hops. That's a bit slow for me. We have seen a couple runners do that. I don't know if you're familiar with those races. Pretty amusing.
Did at some point do any percent dream plats.
Oh my goodness, were you one of them? That's possible.
I might be one of them. I'm not sure actually. I've done a lot of like muscle memory dumb things. I tried to dreamgate once.
Alright, Dalton does get the early control as well, and ins0mnia is on his way. No way! Is ins0mnia actually? He's gotta be joking. He just typed 80% brain rot in the chat.
Do you believe?
Please tell me he did not.
I believe. I believe ins0mnia.
That's right, it was Axe and whoever Axe played against, that's right.
They both did it? That's great.
Yes, and they were not watching each other.
ins0mnia did it.
Yep. I can't believe I foreshadowed this. Is that really a comms curse when I...
Yeah, take credit.
Yeah? Okay.
It's not bad, any percent platforms, to be honest. I don't know when the last time he ran any percent was, but that was okay.
It was more recently. He's gotten several any percent PBs more recently than all skills PBs. So if that means anything.
That's true. Yeah, actually, it probably was more recently than he practiced all skills.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, ins0mnia quit out here. Dalton, by the way, doing well here. He hasn't died. Again, he's rusty as well. And since Mantis Claw, he's only lost maybe 10 seconds to ins0mnia in everything since Mantis Claw. For a runner that's, again, his PB 3 minutes behind ins0mnia, he's doing very well. And he's keeping ins0mnia honest, right? Like, ins0mnia can't die to Watcher Knights or Isma skips or anything, really. Because Dalton's still right on his heels. So, like, credit to him.
And Dalton will be going for that C dash that we would normally see in all skills. But what was interesting was what we learned from the Axe race is that if you do the any percent strat optimally, it actually only loses a few seconds. And ins0mnia, by the way, shows off some cool elevator, what's wall cling storage using the elevator. Just briefly, I believe he got a single wall cling jump, which is if you jump on the frame you land and retain the wall cling storage. I think he got one of those.
Yeah, just don't tell him that he has C-dash. He doesn't know. He'll figure it out at some point. He gets a good first Watcher Knight. 3 dives is enough to kill a Watcher Knight. It gets a little trickier when there's multiple of them. Excuse me. Also, they have the chance of rolling away like that guy does.
I think, yeah, this still should be a fairly fast fight. Just need one more schedule on that guy there.
Yeah, it's fine. It's nothing too bad yet. Runners tend not to lose more than like 5 seconds to Watchers unless something really bad happens. And ins0mnia gets lucky with a 3rd nail swing there, so he gets enough soul to damage tank and kill that guy. Pretty good fight.
I just realized what you were hinting at, which was that the wall cling storage is only possible if you're not charging up the C-dash to C-dash off that elevator.
Yeah, like he just lost time. I know Blue does the same thing, where he enjoys the wall cling storage so much he loses time to do it. And I think you're losing time even if you get the wall cling storage, by the way.
Yeah, it's I appreciate the dedication to wall cling storage. I'm a glitch appreciator, so I can even if it's a minor glitch, like I'd much prefer the major ones. I'd rather see Televator in one of these runs.
Like, by the way, just like perfect patterns from Dalton. He actually got like optimal Watcher Knights.
Yeah, that was a beautiful fight. So again, saving time on him. Still going to be pretty significantly behind, but I mean, anything could happen. A Hornet 2 death is really all it takes. Even if ins0mnia takes the safest bench, right at the camp bench, that is still gonna lose around 45 seconds almost no matter what. But so yeah, anything can really happen as long as Dalton keeps this race close. All he needs is one big mistake from ins0mnia or a few better splits.
Yeah, I think it's hard. Like, honestly, I don't think Dalton will catch up if ins0mnia doesn't make a big mistake. Like, I think his PB is 3 minutes slower. He's the better part of a minute behind at this point. So, it's possible for sure. But I think the more likely path to victory for Dalton is just keep doing what he's doing, play solid, stay on ins0mnia's heels, and hope that ins0mnia dies to one of a million things later in this run.
Yeah, I would say the two biggest threats coming up would be... Well, the two biggest threats coming up would be Hornet 2 and then Sibling Climb, I guess. Sibling Climb can be really rough if you fall out of rhythm. Those double damage siblings, pretty terrifying. Beast Den, I guess, if you end up there with low HP. The way ins0mnia is playing, it seems like if he actually got the Beast Den on 2 HP, I think he'd rather heal.
Sure, but just like getting hit by the spikes in a late dark room and ruining your cycles or something like that. Like, there's a lot that can go wrong at 80%, and one of the things is going to happen here. Like, you can see how he does with his skips.
Yeah, this is the first pogo, not entirely abnormal. Yep,
there you go.
Makes second time.
And yeah, he'll definitely take second try there. There are a couple more skips here, but the spike tunnel probably the hardest of them.
Yeah, this one you just dash once on. Oh, that's really
yeah,
low.
He's so low, yeah.
I think he died intentionally there because he knew he just wasn't going to make it at the end.
I'm not convinced. The C-dash went on for a very long time if that was intentional, but either way.
I mean, you might have had to think about it. We can ask him. That's always fun, interview questions. Like, did you do this on purpose?
Okay.
There's a pogo. I think that worm will come on over. I have faith in the worm. Do you believe in the worm?
No. Oh.
Oh.
If I waited 1 second, I could have said yes. What was I doing? What a fool I am.
Dalton?
Yeah.
Yeah. He misses the first and second. Oh, makes it third try. Still not bad. Well, I'd honestly not be surprised to see ins0mnia healing here. We'll probably see Dalton do a heal if he misses one more part of the skip. Oh, he started that dash so far to the left. It was a little scary.
Dalton has full soul, by the way. I did not see how that happened, but he's also doing setupless. Nice.
Nice.
So they both get hit twice between the spike tunnel and the ins0mnia skips. ins0mnia getting a clean C-dash across, by the way.
Yeah, and Dalton actually healed while he was waiting for the warp. What?
Yeah, that's a pretty common strat. If you have the soul, it's just rare to see people have the soul there, but Dalton is stacked on soul somehow.
That's absolutely.
Either way, they're probably going to be about even with this. Like, they both missed one thing, and the spike tunnel and the ins0mnia skips, each ins0mnia skip saves about the same amount of time, or I suppose loses the same amount of time. We'll see how Dalton does with the C-dash across, too. That'll make a difference.
I'm pretty sure ins0mnia got stopped, right?
He didn't take any damage. If he did, he canceled it himself.
Oh, Dalton with the frame perfect cancel.
I've never seen someone cancel after hitting once.
Yeah, I have seen that before, but it's very rare. It's always hard to tell if that's like whether they knew the timing super well or if they just realized really late that they were gonna get hit and just happened to have perfect timing.
Yeah, I imagine that's a late reaction. I can't imagine you'd risk it if you are trying to cancel your C-dash anyway.
That's true.
ins0mnia messing up the first damageless Moloch. He's going to take damage once, takes damage again on those guys. So 2 damage that's kind of his own fault. We'll see how he does with this one. One of those damages... Oh, no, that damage is annoying.
Yeah. This is just a bad pattern from these guys.
2 HP. I wouldn't be surprised to see him heal to 3. Nice.
Oh, let's go. The Movement Master gets right on up there first try. That trick is deceptively difficult. It looks like just a couple of simple wall clings, but it's what do they call it? A trans dash, I believe.
What?
Yeah,
I've heard dash cancel.
People have said that, but then they're like, that's a bad term for it.
I mean, yeah, it's not descriptive. It's called a trans dash.
That
doesn't feel descriptive either.
No.
I don't know. It's called something. The idea with what you're doing there is you dash, and then before you hit the wall, you're already buffering your jump and holding the input in the other direction. I'm surprised ins0mnia didn't heal there, and there's the death that Dalton needed.
Yeah, that's exactly what Dalton wanted. Which sometimes it can feel like it sucks to win a race that way if your opponent just dies and you just play normally, or even below your own average. But
I don't think this race is won at all. Like,
No. It's not one. And you know, ins0mnia has had better general movement, so there's plenty of time for him to catch up. But at
yeah,
this skill level, I wouldn't expect any runner to have opened that safety gate. So ins0mnia will be having to go through the smaller room again.
I think with just how much better ins0mnia's movement has looked, and how much more experience ins0mnia has, and his better PB time, Dalton's about 30 seconds ahead here, but I think ins0mnia's about 30 seconds faster on average in the late game. You know, no discredit to Dalton, it's just their PBs are 3 minutes different. So I think this is actually, assuming we don't have deaths from either runner, I think this is going to shape up to be a really good race.
Oh, and he does first try base and skip for the second time.
Yeah.
He remembered the shade was there and didn't face tank another damage.
Actually incredible.
Been awful. And I think actually one of ins0mnia's biggest mistakes was entering this fight with only 1 cast of soul.
I like what ins0mnia did, because otherwise he would have had 2 health going into it. I don't think he wanted that at all. Okay, he's fine.
No, but I do like the strat of just gathering more soul on the Harlot.
Yeah, that's fair.
Starting a fight with that 160 damage and getting the Broken Vessel into that headbang right away is so valuable. It makes the fight so consistent.
Yeah.
He does manage to make it out on 1 HP this time, going for a much more normal fight when he does get the headbang attack, because he does get the early double hit Shade Souls out of the way.
Yeah, I think both fights he actually took 3 damage. The difference is he came in with 4 HP this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, this becomes stressful for Dalton. Like, I know the feeling where you're ahead in a race against someone with I'd say significantly better PB time than you, but there's still a lot of race to go, and you know that person is on your heels, you know, out for blood.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I definitely had an experience with that. Rar was going absolutely insane movement-wise. I didn't know he had a 56-minute PB. Thought his PB was around an hour and 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, I'm taking this race nice and comfy. He was running circles around me until the Hornet deaths. But yeah, even when you're ahead of opponent by a full death, if you know that they have the movement and if you're maybe not confident in the spots, I'm so curious as to whether Dalton goes for the safety bench. And actually, I can switch the audio here.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I'm sure you have that window open, so I think.
Yeah, I'll get it. And I know you're saying Dalton's ahead by a full death. Like, Rick's in chat, Dalton's only ahead by half a minute, right? Like, he was behind by a significant amount before that death, so half a minute is easily make-upable by ins0mnia without a death. Oh, especially if this is happening. Somehow Dalton's not gotten hit, which is incredible to me, but he still loses some time for that movement.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, that's true. 30 seconds really isn't that much. 15 seconds can be lost with just a bad Hornet fight. I think something like 3 or 4 parries at the wrong time, and this is huge amounts of time lost there. Hopefully Dalton gets some good RNG here. I do like to see an underdog win, as much as I love ins0mnia. So.
Yeah, and chat's also mentioning Dalton on 20-second PB pace, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's something you can root for, absolutely. And if anything, I hope both runners get reasonable RNG here.
Fine on the dive. He gets hit once, but the Hornet fight's going okay. He probably gets a double there, yeah. Hornet hasn't staggered yet. That's an easy stagger. Probably another easy double to a stagger. 1 hit's on a stagger, yeah. This is a good fight. Another double. 2 hits from a stagger? That's just really annoying parry. This is a good fight. He doesn't dive there? Okay, he eventually dives. He wanted to dive there. He accidentally VS's, and that's gonna cost him. That's so rough, dude.
Yeah, this Hornet being a terrifying boss, he didn't take either safety bench, neither the King Station one, which only loses 2 or so seconds, nor the camp bench, which loses about 15. And that will end up costing him. He was confident coming into the fight, which is something I like to see, but yeah, just having a few mistakes on Hornet can lead to a lot of quick damage. He's a very fast boss and not very kind.
Somni with a bit of a struggle at the beginning of this fight too, but since then he's kind of reduced the damage tanking. He got down to 2 HP pretty quick, but then healed to 3 and hasn't really taken damage since. The fight's not too fast, but it's fine. Like, he shouldn't be dying to this now. Or you just jump in the spikes and prove me wrong, fair enough.
Okay, he does end up finishing the fight. As Palm has been going over, the double hits are really important to keep track of. Getting twice the damage out of every cast of Soul is just such a huge advantage in the fight where the nail, after they get the dark spells, Shade Soul and Dive, the nail stops being very useful as a tool for damaging. It's more of a soul collection stick. So really capitalizing on every single hit of Soul is really important to be giving those optimal times.
So Dalton, we gave him his, like, 1 minute of game audio. I feel so bad, dude. And then we're going to go right back to ins0mnia. Again, we do try to put who's in the lead. Whoever's in the lead, we try to give the game audio, I should say. The only reason I swapped it in the beginning is just because they were both, like, within 3 seconds of each other, and we'd been listening to the same person.
Yeah. And, the audio is actually quite important to have for the person in the lead because, like, coming up, not quite on this split, ins0mnia is on his way to Cyclone Slash, but for Umu, it's important to be able to hear the double hits because that's actually also how the runners tell once Umu is off screen for the 1 cycle. It's actually, it's impossible to see whether or not anything double hits, so always listening for audio.
Yeah, it can give us a little more information. Nice. I don't know if I can think of an example other than Umu there, but either way, it's nice to see who's in the lead, because that's usually who your eyes are drawn toward. It's also more likely who will be explaining what's happening, because, like, we could explain what's happening with Dalton in the Hornet fight right now, which he's doing pretty well in, by the way. However, like, we've already explained that the runner in the lead will be doing the new things, right? That's kind of where the logic comes from.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, he actually dashes. That was a pretty confident dash. I'm always scared of dashing in the Hornet fight, maybe overly so. Just because she's always 0.9 dashes away, you know.
Nah, she's 1.0 dashes away, and then she walks toward you, and then you crack.
Yeah, the Hornet walking is, among casual players, they get very frustrated when doing Radiant fights. Trying to do hit lists essentially, and she just they'll memorize every single attack, and then she'll just walk into them. Why? Not a huge issue actually in the not a huge issue in the all skills fight unless you're going for those quick dashes because spacing is so important for the most part. You don't really want to end up that close to her, but yeah, once you suddenly change their distance right before you dash, it's really unlucky.
So a minute 20 lead for ins0mnia here over Dalton, and this is worse than for Dalton for a couple of reasons. For one, that's worse than the 40-second lead that ins0mnia had before Broken Vessel. And for another, we just got past Broken Vessel and Hornet 2, which are 2 very important places for Dalton in that they're ways for him to come back if he's behind. And even he got a chance to come back with Broken Vessel. But now it's going to be harder for him to find that window. It's a lot harder for ins0mnia to die in these last few splits.
I would like to mention that I did successfully commentator curse ins0mnia at the beginning of this race. Did say he probably wouldn't die. And even called myself out for that, but I couldn't stop the curse. It was too late.
I couldn't stop it. I don't know. I think ins0mnia will die somewhere. It's a little bit of a... It's a little easy, you know? You can do better.
That's true.
Death lost about 2 minutes. Yeah, Death lost probably over 2 minutes, right? He was ahead by 2:20.
Yeah. The Hornet fight wasn't... It was pretty good both times, but it wasn't entirely... It wasn't super optimal.
I actually think Dalton's was faster than ins0mnia's. I think ins0mnia had a really, really slow start to his Hornet fight, and then he kind of picked up, whereas Dalton's second fight looked pretty solid all the way through.
That's true. But yeah, Dalton on his way to pick up Cyclone Slash, movement heavy split. And ins0mnia gathering some extra soul really doesn't want to take an extra death. Like, do you think that? I just feel like there's better If he's really scared of dying, I think he could just do the Umu bench and it'd be almost as slow as that.
Yeah, if he's not trying for PB, which I think PB is more or less out of the question, I think just Uber benching is perfectly fine here.
Maybe he was predicting that. That could have been. We'll leave this room on 2 HP. No, yeah, I was gonna say, don't want to see any more seed ashes in this room until the end there, because getting another double damage hit in would be that would be another chance for Dalton to catch up, and I don't think he's looking to give that. Yeah,
that would actually, it would be really interesting. So it would put them about the same spot actually, both putting back the Dermot bench. But as it stands, Dalton is entering the Umu split now, and ins0mnia is entering the Umu fight now. So probably maintaining that 1 minute 20 lead that Rix has been kindly telling us. I don't know the words.
We love Rixian, that's what Palm wants to say.
Right, yeah. Also, I think I said stuff wrong because I had trouble reading what Rixian was saying, but ins0mnia's ahead by 1:20, not 1:50, in case I said that. Or at least
no, I think he said a minute. I think he said there was a 1:50 difference. Okay. That was how much time that Dalton lost with that.
ins0mnia's practicing this. He falls too far. He didn't want to fall off that. That's scary. That's hard to get a 3 cycle. He was practicing this before the race. You could see that he just fell off that platform. He didn't want to fall off till a lot later to get the Quirrell. Fortunately for him, he's still at 4 HP. This is a fight that, if you perform poorly, you're going to lose a lot of time, but probably not die. Probably. And an extra attack here is really annoying. Again, he'd have to come up with something crazy to get a 2 cycle. That's not a 2 cycle, right? Maybe?
No.
A good try with that double at the end. He's probably close. It's probably like a fireball, maybe 2.
It's gonna be like almost certainly. Like
yeah. For not having like a setup for that was a really good phase. Yeah, he almost got like basically a 1 cycle without a setup in that second phase.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, Dalton can get
wall storage. Didn't quite get it, but more fun.
About a 1:20 difference, right? So if Dalton can get a 1 cycle here, that about halves the lead. That makes it about 40, maybe even 30 seconds. I don't know how comfy Dalton is with this, though.
Well, that would be so exciting to see him get the 1 cycle here and close the gap just a little bit. It's always nice to see at least one person get it in a race so we can explain. We saw ins0mnia lure him to that upper platform, and what you want to do is, fall off, do 2 Shade Souls, one of them double hits. Then you dash in, get 4 hits, 4 nail hits, the 4th one pushing them out of the wall, and then 2 double hits.
Based on Dalton's movement, sorry to interrupt, but based on Dalton's movement and where he is now, looks like he's just going to go for a 2 cycle, which will still save time. This is basically the any % setup. What he's doing, never mind, he just dives. Oh, he's doing the new cycle. He didn't get a double though, right?
Yeah, and that's not actually how the new cycle works. I was labbing this out. You need to dive directly on top of Umu. There's no way to get all the damage off. I mean, I guess it will still bring him a guaranteed 2 cycle there. But
yeah, I mean, there
was no with that positioning. There was no opportunity for 1 cycle.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't actually seen that live yet, but it was found that you can get a 1 cycle in CP doing pretty much what Dalton just did with, again, like Sabi said, a few minor differences, but that's the idea. And it also works in 1-2-2-1. It's kind of runner's choice if they want to do that or the out of bounds one. They're very different setups, but different people find them easier / harder.
I mean, yeah, I was labbing out the I want to call it the Valley 1 cycle because there are some important differences between it and CP that Valley had to lab out to make it work. One of the primary ones being that you don't want Umu stuck in the platform so that your Shade Souls double, and you want to ensure the spacing matters a lot more when you're doing the Shade Souls. But well, I'm sure we will see it by the end of the tournament. I reckon at least one person will be going for it.
Yeah, probably, actually. It'll be interesting to see what top runners are doing. Because is Valley in the turn? He is, right? He must be.
He is.
Yeah.
I actually, of all the people I expect to do it, I wouldn't expect it to be the top runners. I know Collar Monsters learned it, but most of the top runners are going to have 1 cycle memorized from so long ago that trying to switch it up towards the end of the tournament, especially if they're in those higher brackets, I feel like would be a huge mistake, especially because the newer strat doesn't have a consistent backup for an extra attack, to my knowledge, which the out of bounds one cycle does.
And the issue is that, like we said, we're in round 5 of the tournament, so after this is going to be the bracket stage, so we will only have kind of the top runners, only the top 16 will advance there. Yeah. I still think you're right, I think we'll see it at some point, but I don't think it'll be kind of common knowledge.
Kali Monster, Zero, if you guys are in chat, don't let me down.
Yeah, we are only a couple of races into round 5, there's a lot of people left to go. Somebody misses that C-dash and just looks confused for a little bit. Did he cancel that?
No, Dalton?
No, he didn't.
He canceled the C-dash after he passed over the Uma. Interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if he changed strats recently. Like, it's the same thing with Basin, right? A lot of times people just, when they're learning it, they'll just be like, I won't even go for it. And then they'll turn into, okay, I'll try to react to it. So it might be that it's one of his first times reacting to it. I'm kind of grasping at straws here, but that could be a reason why he's reacting quite late and, like, canceling it after he goes over the Uma.
Yeah. Could also be race nerves, or...
It could also be nerves. Yeah.
You never know when a runner is not watching the race and don't know how far ahead or behind. If he's not watching the race, for all he knows, ins0mnia died twice to Hornet and he's still young. But this whole Great Slash, like, we kind of glossed over it. It's pretty simple once you know all of its tricks. It's just a few well-placed C-dashes. Some of them, man, that really looked like it had the potential to hit him there, but I guess not. ins0mnia going for a little extra nail hit on the Uma there.
Dalton's scaring us, sliding as far down as he could before starting his C-dash.
Oh, she barely made it through there.
What is Dalton doing? Yeah, ins0mnia coming up to the race. Arena, I suppose, as Dalton gets Great Slash here. As Rich is pointing out, the difference is sub-minute again, but it's still 47 seconds. Like, I still do think you need another mistake from ins0mnia if you're Dalton here.
Yeah, I mean, Civil Time is a pretty opportune one.
That was a juicy race, by the way.
Yeah, it was. ins0mnia is just going wild on these. You're gonna heal up here, which is good because you get full right afterward. It'll be interesting to see if Dalton is able to make it through here without taking too much damage, and he doesn't have to go for that. I'll be really trying to keep track of any small time saves like that Dalton might be able to make up. But ins0mnia put up a pretty competitive time for the raid split, so...
Yeah, I mean, that was a good race for ins0mnia. His movement there was fine. He did lose 1 HP, as you said, but, like, the arena itself is exactly how you want it to go. Did you? Yeah, he was high on that. Wait, he wasn't high on that. He just went backwards. Okay. I thought that dash slash went over the lever. I feel like every time I try to do that dash slash not on the ground, I end up missing high, but...
Yeah.
Heights. Oh god. Okay, Dalton's fine. Don't worry about him. That's a nifty little cyclone slash.
Yeah. That's something that Monster really wanted to emphasize in his stat sheet, as he did the amount of nail arts used, and I started at the beginning of the tournament. I was thinking he was doing that just to show off exactly how many he does, but maybe also to show that you know, I mean, that is a joke. I don't think that was his real motivation, but a real motivation could be to show that nail arts are quite optimal, or at least to see just how it correlates with you know, higher level runners maybe being much more prone to it. Dalton yeah, he left some extra splits alive.
Dalton has a really rough arena going on. I think nail arts are like, there's a lot of places where they can be optimal, but it's pretty minimal how much time they save for the most part. It's just that all skills uses a lot of nail arts. It's such a movement heavy category, and because it's all skills, you end up getting the nail arts pretty early.
Yeah. I actually really liked something towards the end of Dalton's Raids Arena, and that is that I noticed he kept track of where these squits were spawning and which ones you need to kill. You don't need to kill any of the squits that spawn outside of the arena. So what he ended up doing was he ended up leaving one of the outside squits alive because he just kept track of which ones actually spawned and were needed to kill. So, that was good.
Yeah, I see some runners do that. I cannot keep track of which squids I don't need to kill. There's no way I'm ever doing that. It also can get in your way. Like, a lot of the time it's easier just to kill the 2 squids at the start, so they don't get in your way and you don't have to keep track of which ones they are.
Yeah, killing all the squits on the way in is optimal, but when you don't, it's nice to keep track of that.
ins0mnia completely doing any % movement there, by the way. He didn't use wings once to get to Beast 10.
At least he remembered he has wings here.
Yeah, Dalton with a little bit of trouble here, because he is behind, and he has taken 3 damage. One of that's the intentional hazard respawn that we just saw there, but he took 2 beforehand. We'll see if he heals.
I mean,
okay, he does that.
I feel like, yeah, you have to heal somewhere. Yeah, that inventory drop was spooky. But he does manage to avoid that extra damage, which is great, considering he was already on low HP. Would have sucked to try and heal there, only to be on the exact same health as you were leaving. I'm somewhat disappointed by ins0mnia. He goes for all this any % movement, and he doesn't go for any % Beast 10. That's good.
That would make this race remarkably close. I'd probably put Dalton in the lead, I want to say. It'd be close. Because with Trap Bench plus Beast 10, I don't know. I don't know.
Dalton ends up healing to 4 HP, which is an extremely safe number here. You could afford to face tank it about and still be fine. Oh, and yeah, he just starts off the split by, or not the split. The split started a while ago, but he starts off the dark room, taking a damage from one of the weavers. He does do a dive here for safety, which is what the extra soul is for.
Yeah, your other option there is inventory dropping, which you'll see top runners do. You can get hit by the spider at the bottom, so it's a little dangerous, but saving that soul is nice. It means after Hera you can go out left side. You saw somebody have to go out right side, because he didn't even have 1 hit of soul. Or 1 fireball with a soul. Dalton will probably be doing the same coming out the right side after Hera.
There's a race I was commentating with a runner who thought they lost. One of the strats they did was, I think they did a dive there, but they ended up collecting soul off of like various enemies on the way through Deep Nest. They hit like random weavers in the dark, and they ended up with enough soul by Beast 10 to try to go for a cool dash slash kill, but they didn't end up making it. But
After the dive, did they do the dive there?
huh? Yeah, they did the dive, but then they built up more soul. I believe that was what has happened. I thought the soul collection was really weird, but he ended up using the soul for the kill.
That surprises me, because if you dive there, you're killing that spider. I mean, if you can hit other spider... Oh, Dalton's having trouble here. Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Where does that put you? Oh my god.
Yeah. We'll have the benefit
Dalton
skipping Raids Arena at least, but other than that, he's basically redoing the entire last section. That's about as late. That is in fact as late as you can possibly die in that split. So pretty much a maximum time loss here. No matter what happens on this Abyss climb, a death here isn't, or sibling climb, a death here isn't nearly as bad as that.
Yeah, I mean, ins0mnia dying here will put him at Hera. Dalton still has to travel the whole way to Hera. ins0mnia's gathering a fan base behind him, by the way.
Very... Alright, never mind. That's... He's gonna try to flare, but I don't think that's... Maybe not.
QGA without QGA with ins0mnia's tears, right? With ins0mnia's tear, rather. Impressive. The rare QGA skip.
Yeah, since he didn't have to save time in a Deep Nest. since he didn't have to go to the Howling Rates arena, he's able to save some time on the way back by just going through a different route.
Dude, I feel bad for Dalton. Dalton had like 1 minute of fame. He had, after Broken Vessel, he was in the lead by 30 seconds. What was that, ins0mnia?
Yeah.
What? He just did Dream Nail for early control, but after he already spawned in.
Brilliant.
Like, he waited until he was standing up, then started a Dream Nail. Ah, Dalton, more damage.
Just wanted to show off that he remembered that the trick existed, even if he didn't remember it in time.
Yeah, and healing here. I think PB's, yeah, definitely. PB is out of the question for Dalton here.
I think
A race win, assuming ins0mnia doesn't, like, you know, die, like, in his chair. A race win is probably out of the question too, so he's just playing it safe.
Absolutely. I am excited to see his Abyss climb. I know he's been practicing it. As I said at the beginning, he is proud of it. So.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
But, like, if he fails his Abyss climb, I can make fun of him, so think about it that way.
Interesting thing I haven't seen. 2 nail hits and then a shade dash through. And getting the final nail hit on like after the C dash stops.
Yeah. Oh wait, 2 nail hits then No, it's nail hit, shade cloak, nail hit, C dash, and then you pogo the next one, right?
Right.
Yeah, that one's, I think that's optimal actually. That tends to be what top runners do.
Absolutely wild. So yeah,
You're high, right? He's not high. His horns tickled that thing. Alright, 21.9. What do you have for an Abyss climb, ins0mnia? Oh no. Okay.
He does this. He's done this.
I do know that on the sheet this doesn't count. It's still a 21.9, but we'll say 24.6 for ins0mnia's sake. You're looking for like a 33 here. Like, I mean 32 even better, but we'll see what he gets. This is a really good climb. This is all what he wants so far. Pretty fast, but never mind.
GG.
You're gonna
Does
go
he
back down?
Oh my god. Disappointing the Abyss climb fans. Maybe he goes back down after. He's done this before. Debates by getting to the top.
24.6 we said, right? Yeah, this is not a good climb. As you may expect from dying on that spike. So like a 42-second climb, looks like.
One day, ins0mnia is gonna get a 32 in a race. Hopefully he makes this a bracket phase and he can show that off.
Yeah, if he doesn't make it to bracket phase, I'm gonna have to question that statement. Going back down for the split time there would have been really disrespectful. He's done it before. I don't know.
It depends on what your opponent, like, there's, like, it really depends on what your opponent wants. Some people are totally fine with memes. Yeah, and there's a lot of memes you can do, and he likes the Abyss climb.
I can see it being viewed either way. Like, I can see it as disrespectful, like, look, we're in a race, I know you're winning, but you don't have to flex. And I can also see it as, like, ins0mnia's not doing it to flex, he's doing it because he wants a good Abyss climb. Like, it's what he would do in his own stream if he weren't on PB pace. Fortunately, ins0mnia's a tournament organizer, so he gets to decide if it's root or not.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But it really does depend on your opponent. If your opponent doesn't want you to meme, and then you meme anyway, like, of course that's rude, but...
I mean, I'm pretty sure my last race I did a major glitch. Like, I was definitely memeing my last race.
Let's see this Hollow Knight fight. The Abyss Shriek is going to be pretty much the only source of damage in this fight if you want to do it optimally. Starting out without a Shriek is actually quite rare.
Yeah, good time here would be 40. So your scream is a like 25. So 40 seconds. When I say 40 from scream to last hit is how I time it for whatever reason.
ins0mnia chose to dive. The dive only does 88 damage at maximum, while if you get all ticks of the Abyss Shriek, it's 120 shaman spell.
I'm actually wondering if he didn't mean to hit spell there. I think that's a possibility. It's a good beginning though. Like other than that dive, he's gotten pretty maximum damage. This is a really good fight.
Yeah, and it's not as if the dive is like terrible damage. We missed just 2 streaks or 2 ticks of damage. The dive is actually better.
Shriek there.
Not exactly guaranteed. Oh man.
Yeah, like a 44. Pretty good. 44, 26. Like a 110 split. That's good. We take though. GG to ins0mnia. Not a PB, but he did beat Dalton's PB. So it's hard to expect Dalton to have won the race even without the deaths. I don't know. He was like 20 seconds ahead. Oh, Dalton, please.
Yeah, I think he made the decision to go to fall down here.
Just go right, dude. Why are you going this way? This is the scariest way. You ran back into it.
The siblings are so terrifying when they're out of place. They just horde up together and they become this wave of zombies. They're just after you and. It looks like we may have an end to the race right here after all.
Yeah, we'll see what Dalton wants to do. It's up to him if he wants to finish it first.
He may be asking whether or not he should finish. He mentioned that he's done. So.
Done? Yeah, that's fine. Respect. Timing worked out pretty well, actually.
Yeah, I guess it did. The final death coming up right at the same time as ins0mnia's finish. Good game to both racers.
GG. So yeah, they should have the invite for the race. Yeah, I see ins0mnia's in here. I'm just waiting on Dalton to see if he wants to join for the interview. That is what the typing noises are. Frantically trying to set things up. Sabi, we do so much work as commentators. We commentate, and then sometimes we have to click things. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sometimes we even have to click things before the race.
Yeah.
But fortunately, our speed gaming volunteer,
Hello.
legend, set that up for us. Hello.
Hey, GG.
GG. Unfortunate couple of deaths, Dalton. I heard chat say you were 20 seconds ahead going into Hornet 2.
No, that was my... Well, my true PB was 40 seconds ahead. So I was actually 20 seconds behind. Sorry.
Oh, okay. What's your actual PB then?
56:33.
Oh.
But
Okay,
I didn't
that's like-
record because I messed up.
Yeah, that like halves the gap between you and ins0mnia actually, in terms of PB.
Yeah, I mean, that would be 1 second faster than what I just did. So, like,
Oh.
definitely had the potential to be a lot closer. Just a couple of, like, say, costly slip-ups. But yeah, you were moving, like, I had the race up on my other screen, and it looked like you were moving really well.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks.
I think you both had some troubles early game. Like,
Yeah.
ins0mnia almost died to Hornet, or before Hornet. And
Yeah.
both of you had a lot of trouble with the Mantis Pogo. Like, ins0mnia,
Yeah.
your Mantis Pogo was better. Dalton, because you could go around.
Okay. See, I'd
Yeah.
been practicing Mantis Pogo before this, and if I practice something, it doesn't work. I practice Umu and Mantis Pogo.
Oh, that's one thing I meant to ask Dalton. Is you went for the current patch or the Valley edit of the Umu 1 cycle. Have you practiced that strategy much?
Yeah, I just do it because I don't miss the 2 cycle like that.
Okay.
Because
So,
I usually I fall in the true 1 cycle.
okay.
And then
So,
yeah,
sorry,
just safety.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, like you saw from mine, it's a lot harder to recover failing the out of bounds one cycle than it is the other one, because it's a bit more any percent-esque. You have that big platform to try and work your dream nails in and stuff.
Yeah, it depends on how you fail it too. I think, like,
Yeah. I mean, I
turning
just
either
had a
the
pathetic first cycle.
yeah, I think turning either the 1 cycles into a 2 cycle isn't that hard. I think the difficulty more comes in terms of it's harder to set up the 1 cycle that you did, Somni. Like, it's easier to do what you did, where I think you walked off the platform accidentally.
Yeah, and then I ended up like in another postcode down the bottom of the arena. Like, I hadn't even had that before in practice. I'm like, how do I save this? And then I had an alright second cycle, but first cycle was just too bad to be able to save it.
It was really impressive to watch you attempt to recover that one. Also, Dalton, I have to give my compliments to you. You brought some outside squits into the arena, and you kind of kept track of where they were. At least you kept track of the ones that spawned, and you knew that even when all the squits weren't dead, all the ones you needed to kill were. And you were able to
Yeah,
leave
thanks.
the
I
arena.
was pretty happy with that. Yeah. But the things I had practiced were Hornet 2 and Dark Deep Nest, and I died to Hornet 2 and to Beast Den, so...
All right. Lesson learned. With my future race, I will not be practicing.
What? Sorry, I'm just looking at my split. Oh, I had a terrible Sanctum as
yeah,
well.
sorry for not finishing. I was
Nah,
out of
no worries.
seats after that.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Was there anything
Except-
else that
Muscle
ahead.
memory on Dream Nail.
probably did you lose much time there? Because in Axe's race when they did that, neither runner really lost that much time.
It's like 4 seconds or something, which
Yeah.
isn't much, but you know, it feels bad when not only is it time loss, but what you're doing is harder than just pressing the C dash button.
Yeah. And also, I think we saw you go for a wall cling storage immediately after Watcher Nights. And
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty neat.
Got a grilled great slash, had an alright climb, and then like a bad long boy room.
Was there anything
and
else
then yeah,
that Dalton you were proud of throughout the race?
My Soul Master fight was good for my standards.
It really
I
was.
golded by 5 seconds, I think.
Yeah, congrats on that. I think you golded in this race. That's excellent. You saved a lot of time on Insomnia there actually, because he got the nasty dive right at the start.
Oh yeah.
I lost
But
like
did you die, Insomnia?
yeah, I died to Broken Vessel because I can't count to 700 in increments of 80 and 88. I was like, oh, he's got to be dead. Let's just face tank and spam spells. No, all right, he's got to be dead now. He's got to be dead. Oh,
I'm
why am I
dead.
on a bench?
I do think
Was
it's
I
easier.
ahead or not?
You were ahead after that. You were like 50 seconds behind before Broken Vessel and 30 seconds ahead after it.
Oh wow, I should have benched, but since I was close to PB at Hornet 2, I wanted to go for it. But...
Yeah, I think even benching at Hornet 2, because if you bench, you lose another like 5 seconds. You're only 25 ahead. You also had some problems in Kingdom's Edge. So you're like 20
Yeah.
seconds ahead. So even with that bench, that death would have probably flipped the lead.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it was. I was like 20 something ahead after, and then by. Oh, what happened in your wraiths? Because apparently I saved 26 seconds on you going through and looking at the Rex Delta calculations.
I'm just not too good at it, I think.
Yeah, fair.
I lost 10 seconds to gold, so I'm just not really good.
No, that's fair. It's like very much you either know the quick kill strat or you don't. Plus you had squibs in the arena, so pretty understandable time loss.
Mm-hmm.
Wraiths and Cyclone. Okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, GG. was gonna say good luck on your next race, but neither of us probably have a next race. But yeah, I hope you had a fun tournament.
Yeah, GG, and yeah, thanks for making the tourney possible. And
Yeah.
thanks to Combs.
Yeah, thanks, Combs. I'm
Twas
sure it was
fun.
incredibly cute.
I'm going to bed now.
Actually,
Good
yeah,
night,
isn't
Bob.
it like
Good night,
6
Ray.
a.m. for you?
It's like 5:30.
It's basically the same thing.
All right.
All right, GG.
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 Bye.